Good evening, ladies and gents. Welcome back to Online Darts. It's the Live Lounge episode 139. Possibly one of the most awkward checkouts on the board. Evening to everybody in the chat room. I hope you're all well. I'll say hello to them individually in a second. Boise, how we doing?
Yeah, not bad. You? Just me and you tonight, mate?
Fucking sacking. See him prattling around the background, but now he's got to work out he can still watch the football at the same time without getting us done for copyright. So you take your time, pal. Either that or a booking Christmas film, so he's getting sacked anyway. Silly bugger. Hello, how is everybody in the chat room? Plenty to scroll back through. Morgan says, evening stacked show tonight. It always is at the moment. Jamie is talking about that lovely little beauty behind me. We'll no doubt talk about that in a little bit more throughout the evening. Plenty in. Zane says evening. Kieran's in. Phil's on mute. Craig's in.
No, I'm here.
Oh, there you are. Yeah, lucky us.
That was the Christmas miracle we was hoping for, that Phil was on mute, to be honest.
He's in. He says, hi, everyone. Give Humphries the Sid Waddell trophy already. Who's late? It was Phil. Sack the gaffer, indeed. Littler in Gibraltar this week. Yeah, we'll talk about the JDC. Andreas is in. Harry's in. Matthew's in. Kyle's in. Says, what day is it? I know. A live lounge on a Tuesday. What on earth is going on? James in. Adam is in. Niall's in. Great couple of days for yourself, Niall. What's up, OD Crew? Says Joel. Joe says a Tuesday live lounge of Champions League foot in the background. Some weekend of darts. It was indeed. Mark's in as well. How we doing? David Whiston, good morning from New Zealand. Good morning to you too. Tuesday afternoon to Rack and Roll. That must mean you are stateside somewhere. Evening from Maisie, who is, of course, watching. How we doing, O'Shea clan? Tugboat is in. Jesus, we should do it on a Tuesday more often.
To be fair, me and Boise were in nice and early, and then my webcam decided to literally blow up.
Yes, his webcam doesn't really work at that time of day.
His webcam's used for different reasons on a Tuesday. That's why normally it just blew up today.
Yes.
All good.
Yes, all good. We got there in the end.
That feels more normal. There we go. didn't like being in that position.
He didn't want to lead, did he? He was like, no.
Yeah, I'm happy being standalone where I am. I didn't like being a dog. I'm not there.
That's Boyce's little fence at the bottom that he sits on all the time.
There's splinters down there.
Yeah, Phil has an opinion one way, and I tell him why he's stupid all the way across.
And then Boise just goes, "What are these two idiots doing?"
I've never had so much popcorn as I have in 2023 with you two, but I'm sure we'll talk about that at the end of the year. So,
yeah, look, it's been a manic 10 days or so in the darting landscape, boys. But now we've got a little bit of a lull just to get ready for everything that is coming up.
There's a World Championship starting in 4 days. What lull are you on about?
No, we've got a Lakeside starting in 4 days. You know,
yourself.
Which apparently Makuru's playing in, yeah?
Their sponsor post still has Thibaut Tricol on it as well.
Yeah.
Some people in our chat room would say that's the only World Championship using a proper dartboard. That's a debate for probably later on in the show.
We will come on to
What are they using?
Well, it's not a green treble 20.
No, but what board are they using?
What, Lakeside?
Yeah.
The Blade 6, but I believe this is the last tournament that you will see it.
Right.
I believe.
What's their betting company's colour?
Purple.
Purple treble 20? Anyone?
Yeah.
I think they've paid as much as Paddy Power have for the title rights to have that effect on people.
Maybe not.
To be fair, it's quite common knowledge now within the industry how much they paid, because everyone was talking about it yesterday.
Wonder how that got out, Philip.
Nothing to do with me. Because the same person that told me told the people at the PDC, because he still speaks to them. That's how. How we doing, Anthony? Hope you are good, mate. Right, let's go straight into it. The final PDC major, whatever we want to call it, happened at the weekend. And it's Luke Humphries yet again, boys, that has won 3 PDC majors in just 47 days. Incredible.
He's a bit good, isn't he?
Do you still think he needed to lose first round, by the way?
Yes and no. Like I just think
No way.
For his chances to go and win the Worlds, I still think that an earlier loss, not a full tournament, and the high of winning 3 in a row, I just think keeping that going is so difficult. Whereas if you have the ups and downs or just something to plateau you or level you out a bit, there's the difference.
I think he still had that drop and still went on to lift the title. If you looked at parts of that final, and I think he admitted at the end he felt a bit flat. I think there were times he was dropped. His level of performance and his sort of mannerisms and how he's been on the stage, and he's still found a way to get the win. Michael shouldn't have lost from that position. I think we'll probably all agree with sort of that there was opportunities there for Michael to go on and win it, but the benefits of now winning those 3, if there were question marks about is he still favourite before the player, surely there's none now.
Michael's comment yesterday was, Luke didn't win it, I gave it to him.
I mean, the man's doing a lot of talking for a man that's doing a lot of losing in major finals.
And the papers were prodding him yesterday, trying to get a reaction, and I think they got it. His words were, well, where is he today then? He's not here, is he?
But he's also been a pro for 3 years.
But it was, I'm just saying, it was funny.
He's just shy of, well, not far off £500,000 in 3 months or 2 months of TV action.
Yeah.
I know whose shoes I'd rather be in right now. I understand why Michael does what he does, but it backfired this weekend. And the manner of how it backfired, for me, I agree. Michael sort of threw it away. But he's not the one with the winner's check and that wonderful trophy. It's Luke Humphries.
I completely agree, but we've seen it before where Michael has dominated every other tournament and not won the big one. I think if you say to him now, give that one away, but you win this one, we will know what he'd do.
Still have a worse percentage record at the Ali Pally than Gary Anderson and Phill Taylor, but yeah, son. Not my goat.
Your goat almost got cancelled last night.
Yeah, well. Definitely do what it was.
But before we obviously touch on more on Luke, let's talk about the Players' Championship as a whole. Thoughts, first of all?
It came to life from Saturdays, what I would say. The fact we had no tight games on Friday, or none that went all the way, all but one of the seeds went through that Friday afternoon. It didn't really deliver a huge amount of quality on Friday, and then it just ticked into life on the Saturday with obviously the performances and record-breaking MVG, and then I guess there's a second part to the conversation, which is around the production of the Players' Championships that raised a few eyebrows, especially when magical moments happen and they're not seen.
Are we far enough into the show yet?
Yeah, we're 14 minutes. Just so you
fucking wank!
We're 14 minutes into the show. Phil's about 11. He was late.
It was shit. At least the PDC TV live scores actually work for a weekend, which makes a change since they've incorporated it to their own website instead of being live.dartsdata.com, whatever it was. Because you could actually see each dart going into the fucking segments on that, because you didn't see anything on telly. It was shocking. Absolutely shocking. There were entire visits where you didn't see a dart go in the board. That ain't good enough.
I get that. However, if your main director's not available, what can you do?
Then you go and get one that's done it before. Freelance somebody, or this is the perfect excuse. Matchroom needs to take their production in house to make sure that this doesn't happen again, because that, as a viewing experience for the person at home, was simply not good enough. And it's not the spotter's fault. It's the same spotters. It's not the cameraman's fault. It's the person deciding then what pictures go out. Everything else has stayed the same in that regard.
And I think your point, Phil, in regards to if they're not available, that's something that you know as an inside knowledge from a potential novice fan, new to darts, even someone who watches but only watches the free-to-air coverage. If you're only watching this, and then when there's moments like that happen, and yes, it came to light more probably because of the 9, for them type of fans, it's not really enticing you to watch it then. When it comes around to, I'm guessing the Masters is the next one. Is it on ITV?
Yeah.
Because you see that and you just look and think it's not great from a viewing perspective.
That'd be delayed coverage of the Bahrain Masters.
So the Masters, yeah. It just wasn't.
Shit.
It raised a lot of question marks, especially for when you've had the Players Championships all year. We've got the 2 boards. It just raises a lot of question marks. It's the lead up to the Worlds. We expect, I guess, world-class coverage, and we certainly didn't get that.
The thing that annoys me is your TV director doesn't necessarily, your in-game director can be different to your overall broadcast director at that point if you know you've got a weakness in that team and you know they're fucking up. So at that point, the PDC have a production around the corner. Go and use one of their boys from Loop to direct your in-game product, who have done full broadcasts before, who are using full switching setups on stage 2. And while the games are on ITV, on your main stage, especially when PDC TV is finished for the weekend, get someone in to help that director out. They can then return to doing their job for when Jackie's in shot, or when you've got the pundits, or when they're trying to pick off the cameras, or run to the ads and the link up back with the main broadcast centre, etc. But while the darts is on, get somebody who knows how to direct a fucking darts match involved.
In principle, I get it, and I understand what you're saying. But in reality, it's not going to happen because of who works for what broadcaster. It's like saying Chris Mason's not available for ITV, just go and get Wayne Mardle.
But they're all freelance. What the fuck? Mardle's got exclusive. You go and get another pundit. You go and get somebody as good. Dropping somebody in the deep end like that for that tournament this close to the Worlds, when there is intrigue around darts again because of the time of year, just simply isn't good enough. You are one of the biggest broadcasters in the world. If you cannot get somebody to aptly do that job, there's something wrong. And just making an excuse or going, it's not that simple, doesn't change the fact that they can put some new fancy graphics up, but that broadcast is being carried by 2 people.
Oh, look, 100%. Webster and Mace.
The absolute last thing that broadcast needed this weekend was more of a guy whose main focus is on cycling.
Oh, yeah,
isn't it funny? He cycled here. I couldn't give a shit how Ned Bolton arrived at Minehead, quite frankly.
Oh, look, that I'm with you.
Stick to your interviews in the other room and get Dan Dawson back from on holiday because you desperately fucking need him.
But look, that's ITV, and we know they work differently. The fact that someone in their broadcast has kept their job for years. Us ranting isn't going to change that.
It should.
I'm not saying
how darts fans feel. The same with the PDC. You just excusing people's behaviour because that's what they do, as you do whenever they pick a player for the Premier League or whatever else. doesn't change the experience for anybody. We just sit here and lap it up. Tell them to fuck off.
You can tell Gob hasn't worked in TV before. The principle I understand, but it just doesn't work like that.
Then make it work like that.
But us ranting, it obviously isn't the be-all and end-all as we are right now, but the social media reaction has to taught at some stage.
Yeah, but you look at TNT Sport, how long has everyone been crucifying how shit Michael Owen and Steve McManaman are as pundits, and they've still got jobs? In TV, it doesn't work like that. You see, every time Michael Owen says something stupid on a Saturday, there's memes and there's GIFs and there's everything. This has been on for 5 or 6 years, and he's still there.
To be fair, you still got this channel. Nothing ever changes.
Yes, because I own the channel.
That's probably the issue with what James has said there. ITV are better when it's delayed coverage and not when it's live. It's delayed seems to run and look a lot smoother than what it does.
Yeah, because when it's delayed, it's Matchroom produced.
Seems like we have a solution.
In an ideal world, yeah. However, when someone's paying for broadcast rights and they're saying we're doing it this way or we're not paying, what, the PDC are always going to take the money?
Well,
It doesn't look good on their product, though.
PDC need to grow a spine.
Yeah, it doesn't look good on their product. This weekend doesn't look great on their product from a production side.
And realise the impact it will have on them as a wider whole rather than damaging it. Don't worry, though. We get to watch a World Championship on YouTube next week, so that'll look great compared. And I owes that TV. I can't wait to watch Makura on that channel 187.
In between Pick Your Caravan UK.
For everyone who's wondering, Monday's in Dobbs' most miserable day. We now believe it's Tuesday. Evening, Dobb.
The only reason it's not Wednesday is going to get off my tits on vodka.
But yeah, look, the tournament as a whole, how worried are we about a few players as well after very poor Players' Championships ahead of Ali Pali?
Very, but we have been for a while. And like we said before, like the landscape and the race, basically what we're looking at right now is if they're not going to go and win the title, the next best thing is who gets that 8th spot for the Premier League, because 7 of them are absolutely sewed up. And if you'd said 6 months ago that final spot is a dead heat race between James Wade and Stephen Bunting, you'd have been laughed out of the fucking room.
It's a what?
It's a race between Wade and Bunting right now.
I'm glad I didn't have my drink before you said that.
I can certainly tell you it's not a straight race between those two.
No, but it should be. In terms of form and what they're doing right now, it's those two. Dirk's injured. Johnny's playing rubbish. Dobie's far too far back. Cullen's not delivered at all this year. The only other one you chuck in there is Danny Noppert, and they can't stand him even more than they don't like Wade or Bunting.
One of them two is moving up an hill slower than Ned on his bike. Trust me. I'm with Phill. One of them is absolutely nowhere near. The second one is much further behind, but
I like Gob still believes in the goodness in sport, and it's all about transparency.
In terms of ability and performances for the last 3 months, who's in that race?
that isn't how the Premier League's picked.
Yeah.
No, but it bloody should be.
But it's not.
Like, how are you going to justify anybody else being in there right now?
The same, they justified Barney for years. The same.
Yeah, and then people will kick off again. But don't worry, their survey told them that it doesn't matter who's playing. What a load of shit.
The same way they were going to justify putting Fallon in.
You're in such a good mood.
We've definitely put 50p in the meter, haven't we?
I think we've saved up for the year, and put it all in.
Just found last year's World Championship draw. Can't find this year's though, does it? Where I wrote that fucker out? No. Solid. In this notebook, probably not.
But yeah, look, the players as a whole, for me, moments, but didn't deliver as a whole tournament.
Is the Reds now the return? Is that what's going to be used?
It was a mess because only half of Reds was open. So as you walk in, you know that bit on the left-hand side that's normally there?
Yeah.
That was all the practice area this time.
And is that the permanent fixture, or
I don't know is the honest answer.
are they back to arena, whatever number it is?
Area 51 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's what we were at the back of that. For me,
from a viewing perspective, stage 2, I thought the setup looked better than what it did for the Open in Reds. But I didn't know if that was just a return for the players or that's the long-term plan.
I don't know is the honest answer because you can get more people in Area 51. Sorry, Studio 36. But it loses the atmosphere that Reds provides.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's one of them. You're right there, Gob. You've gone quiet.
Yeah, sound. Just sending Lee the passwords to everything because he's lost them all again.
Not lost. By the way, I've not lost them all. I have had a new phone.
Yeah.
I haven't lost them all. I just misplaced them.
Got a virus, Pornhub.
That's Phill, and that's why he was 3 minutes late to the show.
On the World Youth Championship, we were building up to that and we wanted a classic, and boy, did we get one.
I'm regretting already saying he's not going to win a Pro Tour next year. It's ridiculous, right? Every challenge that he's put in front of him, he's just knocking it out the park. He's a ridiculous talent to perform like that on that stage. I know he's played on it before because he was on there to open up the UK Open, but to then perform like that in the Players' Champion in the World Youth Final was just a ridiculous standard by Luke Littler, and what people were expecting, he delivered.
Yeah, it was incredible. And to think he is only 16 and then literally flew to Gibraltar the next morning to try and defend those titles as well. He's a special lad.
Yeah. He can grow more facial hair than you're ever going to in your life, and you're 40. Very talented dart player as well, though.
Yeah, no, look, he's the boy's absolutely incredible. And there was a few nerves yesterday at the media day because there was a few that didn't want him.
A few that didn't, or anyone? Why would anyone want after that on Sunday?
It's literally a no-win situation, the same as it has been when Fallon's made her debut and Bo's made her debut. Like, it's the old Michael Owen video. Well done, you scored past a 13-year-old. If they beat Luke, well done, you beat a 16-year-old youth player. If they don't beat Luke, it's haha, you just lost to a kid. Like, there is no positive outcome to come out of a matchup with a 16-year-old on a World Championship stage.
No, I agree. It's going to be absolutely mental. Right. We are going to literally a quick ad break because Reese is here, so we can transition into bringing him in. So we'll see you on the other side of this. And here we are. We are joined by the one and only Mr. Reese Colly. How are we doing, buddy?
How are we doing, lads? You all right?
Good, mate. Good, mate. You?
Yeah, everything's all good, mate. All good.
So,
I've got 2 dodgy accents on the show. What's going on?
No need.
Lakeside on the horizon. How are the nerves now?
Yeah, I'm getting a bit nervous now. I won't lie, but it's a cool wait to get on that stage now, though. Iconic stage. So yeah, just want to get there.
What are your initial thoughts of your draw?
To be honest with you, every player that's on that stage, they can all play brilliant. So what will be will be. So yeah, I think I've got Dave Prince first round. So yeah, I'm sure. Hopefully, if I play well, I should be all right.
Is there more pressure because you go into this game favourite, and obviously Dave's not played a lot recently, and there's not a lot of form or knowledge about Dave, what he's been doing. Is that added pressure?
Not really, no. Like, obviously Dave's there as well for a reason. Like, I'm sure if he plays his top game, then I've got to play really well. So it is what it is, and I'm sure Dave will be there and playing well on that night.
Wow, I like that. David Wazowski's in. Hope you are good, buddy. Says, and the dodgy shirt. So yeah, no,
More
look,
a title race than you boys are, Philip.
we're entertaining to watch.
Well done. Stick that in the trophy cabinet, along with we beat Arsenal at their place once.
Twice, actually.
Could be worse. It could be Paul's shirt.
And I'm just saying, not that you're bitter, but remember, you lost at our place this year.
Yeah, against 14.
What was the result?
Yeah.
Reese, by the way, this happens every single week. Every single week. Grow up with the pair of you.
You started winning, so we chopped up again. Reese, the fact that you played at the Super Series over the last year, will that help you? Do you feel at Lakeside?
Yeah, definitely. Like the Moda Super Series, every single player that's there, like the ability of everyone is just incredible. Like, so now, obviously, with it being like streamed and on YouTube and stuff like ice and how they run things, everything, and like playing on the stage and stuff. Hopefully that benefit me ready to play at Lakeside. Yeah.
And since Super Series, Reese, become a father for the first time.
Yep, I have.
Not the normal preparation with just not long left for your World Championship debut. How's that been?
No, a lot of sleepless nights, mate. I'll tell you that one.
Many congratulations, mate. And
Thank
then
you.
in preparation then for your debut, obviously you found out, I think it was last September, winning the British Open. It's been a bit of a wait. What's the wait been like? What, 14, 15 months?
Yeah, well, obviously I've just been gagging to get there. Like, obviously being an iconic stage and like everyone wants to play at Lakeside. I've just been dragged and dragged and dragged. Lucky enough, I've had the Moda Super Series and like some of the PDC stuff and UWDS to keep me going until I finally got to here now.
And you mentioned Dave Prince's first round. How far into that draw have you looked? Have you looked at your section? Have you looked at your half? Or is it just that one day?
No, I've looked to the. I think if I win that one, I'll have easier. If I'm right, and that, I think I've looked to about there. That's about it. Yeah. So I just think I'll just take every game as it comes and one game at a time.
Obviously,
go on, mate.
All I was going to say is I'm well aware, Reese, of the fan club that you've got coming down on Saturday to support you. We saw them at the Super Series about 3 or 4 weeks. How important to them for you on Saturday?
Well, you obviously, like you heard the commentary at the Super Series. They am like my fourth door. Literally, like I love everyone coming there to support me. Like it just gives me that urge to want to do even better. So yeah, we got a few coming down. Should be a good one.
Going to cost you a fair few minibuses to keep getting through, though, isn't
it? Just a little.
I asked my brother today. I was FaceTiming and he showed me now the things that go over your head, the dartboard. FaceTime me with that on. I was like, oh God, here we go.
I like that. So for you, Reese, what are the long-term ambitions? Is it to stay within that system, or is it to go to Q School and get your card? Obviously, being a father for the first time, that can be tricky trying to juggle things. So what is the long-term ambition?
Definitely to get a tour card, 100%. Yeah, I will. I'll be having a little bash at Q School and see how things go there. But yeah, I'll hopefully one day get on the Pro Tour and see what happens.
I like that. I like that a lot. So away from darts, what's the prep been like? How do you wind down and stuff for this? Because obviously you can probably overthink going to Lakeside. So is it a case of just trying to switch off?
Yeah, well, to be honest, there's been a few lads around local from here who's played at Lakeside, like the likes of Nick Forwell, Scott Baker, Jamie Hughes, and they've all just said, listen, just enjoy every minute of it. So I've just took that on board and just practice how I usually would. And yeah, I'll go there, enjoy every moment, and what will be will be.
What's your... Yeah. Obviously, no proper TV deal as it stands at the moment. Is that a disappointment for you as a player that you won't be able to showcase it to as many people worldwide as you hoped?
Well, yeah, usually, if I'm right, was it on ITV last time or Eurosport, something like that?
He was on Eurosport last year.
Yeah, Eurosport.
And obviously, recently, that it was like, I think it's just on YouTube and obviously streamed on there and stuff like that, which it's one of them. YouTube's a big platform at the minute, so I'm sure there'll be quite a lot watching.
Yeah, no, definitely. Darts wise, are you a tinkerer with equipment? Because I saw, obviously, at the Super Series, you had a little tweak a couple of times you've been here.
Yeah, to be honest, I've gone down into like 2 gram in my darts in the last 3 months, and they've been working. They've been going in really well, like so. And I was shocked with that because everyone kept telling me go up a gram, and I was like, oh right, okay. And then in the end I went down, and it's worked. So it depends really. Like I was using metal stems, and then I've gone back to normal. And just to be honest, not a lot of Peter Wright, who could probably sooner or later, I'm sure he'd be throwing with darts at a double and darts at a treble with a treble. But no, I don't change too much. I try to keep things the same.
I like that. Remember, everyone, get your questions in for Reese. Yeah, Davey, Reese answered that earlier. He will be going to Q School, that is for sure. What have we got here? Mr. Wazowski wants to know, who do you think youth-wise will start challenging on the WDF tour?
Jensen Walker, maybe. Something like that.
Yeah.
Cough lad, isn't he?
Probably. Sure, Jensen Walker. Is he in the youth still now? I think he is, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Who's at the World Cup of Darts, yeah. Yeah, Jensen Walker's a good player to, I think, challenge in the WDF.
I'm guessing you were quite pleased that Luke Litter decided to pass Lakeside and go to Ali Pally.
Yeah, just a little, although like obviously I get on really well with Luke Littler, and he's unbelievable. Honestly, so good. I think he'll do some damage in the Pro Tour. Like, so yeah, I'm looking forward to see how he gets on. Hopefully, I'm there with him.
No, I like that. And so, if you were to get a card, I'm guessing the midweek Pro Tours aren't an issue for you, the move or anything like that.
No, not really. No, to be honest with you, I'll just do little bits with my dad, labouring and stuff like that. And so I'm sure my dad will let me carry on, and hopefully it does all right. Yeah, but no, should be okay with that.
How harsh would that be, Dad? Can I have a couple of days off? No.
Got no choice.
that would be a little bit harsh. So obviously we can see away from obviously darts the Villa shirt is on. Do you get a chance to go much?
Not really, no. The last game I went to was probably, I think it was Leicester in the FA Cup. It was the last game I went to Villa, which is quite a bit away now. But now I don't go up a lot. I'd like to, but I just sit at home and watch it, to be honest with you. Yeah. Or I'm rather playing darts and checking it on my phone and stuff.
Is part of that due to your brother being at Dudley, and that if you've got the Saturday free, you have to be at Dudley? Because last time I seen you made a half-time appearance as well.
Yeah. To be honest, I do try and watch him because he loves the darts and he comes and watches me when he, obviously, if they ain't got a game or anything like that. And I'm sure he's asked his manager if he can miss the game to come to Lakeside. So, and his manager was all right with that. So happy days, yeah. But I do try and go up now and again.
Bit of local stuff. I like that.
Yeah.
When are you heading down to Lakeside? Are you going the day before to get ready and just have a look around the venue and relax a little bit?
Yeah, I'm gonna go down Friday. Yeah. Try and get a nice sleep as well, so the baby ain't crying all night.
So this is a bit of a holiday then, really.
A little bit, yeah. The longer I'm there, the better.
And look, Lakeside can be a lonely place if it's not going right. So having all those people travel down to cheer you on must give you huge inspiration as well. Yeah,
definitely. Like I said before, like if I could have 300, 400 people there, it'll only benefit me really. I just love people coming to watch me. So yeah, I'm sure they'll all know if I lose, they'll just say, listen, here's what it is, you've been there and you've done it. That's the main thing, and yeah, they'll be there to support me for
that. David wants to know, who was your darting hero, or who is your darting hero still?
Yeah, Phill Taylor, all day. My favourite darts player is probably Adrian Lewis, but Phill Taylor's like the darting hero.
Yeah, I get that. That's the generational thing, isn't it? When you listen to like the older generation, a lot of them still say Eric and Jockey. Then there's that swing to Phill, yeah. And then the younger generation is obviously your Peter Wrights, your Gary Andersons, your MVG. So it's an interesting dynamic where you. To be fair, we'll have to try and set up a game next time you're at the Super Series, Reece. You against Gob on the stage.
Yeah, we'll have a game.
Is that challenge accepted, Gob?
Yeah, but it's a bit like Luke Littler at the Worlds, isn't it? Reece should beat me. Like, it's a win-win. I can't lose, can I? If I lose a game, oh no, a guy that's just qualified for Lakeside is 4 years younger than me, who should beat me, has beat me. Oh no. More pressure on Reece, yeah. More pressure than bringing 40 lads to Lakeside with you, playing me.
You do know Reece might only be playing you on that stage, but he'll still bring loads of people. He'll be even for a one-leg exhibition.
We'll give you a hint, Reece, as well. If it's not going well against Gob, just start rattling your darts or slowing him down, and he'll get the ump.
Yeah, I will do. Don't worry, I will
do. He's To be fair, are you a fan of the dark arts on the hockey?
What's that? Sorry.
Are you a fan of the dark arts, the old dart rattling and slowing people up if you need to?
Nah, to be honest with you, I throw that quick. I don't even take notice. Genuinely, like if they start rattling the darts and whatever, then I'll just step back, wait for him to stop, and then just throw. When them doing stuff like that shows that I'm getting to like the Reds have gone. You know what I mean? Like they must be losing at the time. Like so. But yeah, I don't really interest me.
Fairs. I did it to Gob when we played last.
What was it? How was his reaction to you rattling your darts then?
Well, put it this way, I won the leg. I started doing it.
His head's gone.
Paul Hinks' position where he stands refereeing is more of an annoyance than him thinking that he's done something to me. He stands sorry. I'm a very large gentleman, and Paul Hinks is a much smaller. There's not a lot of room to start walking around when you stand as far across on the opposite as I do. Let's put it that way.
But Reece, pleasure to have you on, mate, as always. We wish you all the very best in your build up to Lakeside at the weekend, mate. Go well and enjoy it.
Cheers, lads. Thanks for having me on anyway. Cheers.
Cheers, Reece. Cheers,
not a problem at all, mate. Everyone, Mr. Reece Colly, thanks very much, dude. That was refreshing. I like that.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the right attitude to have on debut. It seems like he's had the right advice around just going up and enjoying it and then seeing what happens instead of, especially the amount of time he's had to prepare for it, which is a topic of conversation for a different day. But
yeah, and just an update: Luke Littler has beaten Max Hopp in Gibraltar as well.
Solid.
Yeah. Right, before we leave the Players' Championships, we've got a couple of quotes. First of all, let's see what Luke had to say after victory.
One of the, I don't know, I think it might be the best one, just because I've beaten a legend and someone that I've always looked up to, and someone who I believe that if you don't beat someone like that in a final, then it never feels the same and no one will ever judge you on it. So, yeah, that was a big one for me. I think this is very, very special.
Well, you touched on that. I was going to ask you, being that you have beaten Michael in the final, does that make it all the more special and just taste a little bit better than the other two?
Yeah, it does. Obviously, the three people I've played in the final is Gezi Price, one of the best players in the world, Rob Cross, one of the best players in the world, Michael Van Gogh, one of the greatest ever players in the world. So I've beaten three great players. I've not had an easy ride on winning a final. But I don't know where that, a lot of people have said to me, where did that last 5 legs? I don't know. I honestly do not know that. When I went to the break 9-6, I was so tired even before that. I just managed to pull out something from nowhere. Maybe the crowd. The crowd were fantastic. They're on my side, and maybe they pulled me through that game to win, so I owe it to the crowd there. So everyone in the crowd, thank you very much.
Michael said you had to beat him in the final to get a certain crown. Now, 3 out of 4, the way you are flying, are you now officially the best player in the world?
Yeah, maybe today. No. The thing is, I'd love to say yes, but I just know all the things on social media. Be like, no, he won't be for long. He's going to get beat in the world. Look, I don't look into it too much. I may be the best player in the world the last couple of months, but I don't look into it. I don't really care who's the best player in the world. I'm having my period at the moment where I'm winning a lot. Someone else might have their period next year who wins a lot. So yeah, maybe I have been the best player this year, or maybe over the last 2 months for sure. But I think me, Gezi and Michael have been the most consistent players over the last 2 years who've produced great performances when it matters. So, I'll share the title with them of who's the greatest player at the moment.
Mature. I like the way you spoke there.
It doesn't seem like he's getting caught up in it publicly right now. And I just hope that the same approach and mentality is behind closed doors.
It seems like it is.
Yeah.
The approach he's taken, it seems like it is. And the fact he's on cloud, he's been on cloud 9 numerous times over these past couple of months. There is plenty of opportunity for someone's ego to take over, but it doesn't seem like that has happened with Luke.
No,
and weirdly, he's winning more, and there's less talked about Premier League.
He's top 4 in the world, and you ain't got to worry about it.
Would you imagine if these were non-ranked events and he wasn't climbing the rankings?
Lakeside, it's kind of on TV. Love Darts. It's on YouTube and it's on Sky 187.
Hey, who's that TV? It's like a cricket appeal.
So, right, we've got to put Luke Littler and then one from Jian as well, which is an interesting take. Obviously, you guys have seen the headline. We'll do Luke first.
You've done many special things in your career so far. Where does this one rank?
I think it ranks at the top. It's another youth world title, and it's the biggest one out there. People might say modest because of the money, but I'm not bothered about the money. It's about how big the tournament is, and this ranks at the top.
Now, Alexandra Palace, you've spoken about it there. Do you believe you can go there and win it? Because we've seen you hit high averages. I know you said that if you catch you on a bad day, they can beat you, but some of the averages that you have posted are astronomical. Do you believe that you could go there and do the impossible?
I could do on my day, but I'd be happy to win my first round game and see who the seed is. But I'm just going into Alexander Palace full of confidence, no pressure on me. You've got the big guys defending prize money. It's a free shot for me, so I'm just gonna let my darts go. That's all to do. I take it leg by leg, game by game, and if that's what people want to say about me, they can say it. It's a big thing. Obviously, everyone knows who Michael van Gerwen is, but yeah.
Again, level-headed for a 16-year-old kid. He could easily get swept away in all the hype around him, but seems grounded.
Yeah, there's absolutely no way I'd be grounded with 80 grand in my bank account from playing darts this year alone.
Yeah, it's easy not to worry about the money when you've just won 50 grand off the Super Series, excluding everything else that you've already won at that age.
Yeah.
But yeah, right.
Two
Joking
series of
aside,
prize money, by the way. That doesn't include appearance fees, JDC titles, 12 grand on the Dev Tour, or a World Youth Championship.
Yeah, and to your point, Phill, that's joking aside, it seems to have his feet firmly on the ground, and the approach of one aim at a time is the right one. Does everyone, absolutely everyone he's playing against, is onto a loss, really, whatever the outcome, as you've alluded to, Dob. So for him, go up and enjoy it and play with fun, even if it's not his A down, don't play with fun and see what comes of that. And I know we'll touch on it more. Now that draw's happened, I think he'd be happy with that.
Yeah, we'll come on to that in a minute, but I agree. Also, for those that watched it, look, obviously we know that Xian has struggled with a bit of dartitis over a couple of years, but just seem to be signs that in pressure moments, it's still there, boys. And we'll play the clip and then we'll talk about it because he openly speaks about it.
Got it, of course. I started off too poorly. He played phenomenal and he smacked in a lot of 180s, but I think I played okay. I didn't start off great, and of course I wanted to continue that comeback, 5-1 down and 5-4, but I missed one dart, a double 5 to make a 5-all, and he was waiting on tops and he took it out, and he played phenomenal, and yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, I felt I needed to do that. Of course I struggled with dartitis a year ago, or maybe even a bit more, and in these pressure moments I just know if I don't do that I'm gonna miss, or just it doesn't feel right, especially with the crowd, going, oh, it's normal when you take your time, so it's okay, but then I just want to take a bit more time just to feel okay, and in my head it was like, if you now throw it, you're going to hit it, so maybe it's a bit a sign of still dartitis, but it's only in the real key moments on the big stage like this, and I'm okay with it. And of course, I hit the tops, just missed the double 5 on the wire, and I know if I didn't do it, it probably would have been. I would have missed it a bit further away. So it's all okay.
Couple of points on that. One, that he's openly talking about it, but I suppose the good thing is where he says, "I'm okay with it."
There's 2 points to make here. One, there's an element of praise to be given to the maturity of giving an interview after losing a final in that manner to somebody as special as Luke, and to be as open and honest about his game as he is. He speaks incredibly well, considering English is not his first language. We know he's got his head screwed on. We know he's still studying and ensuring he's got a career to fall back on just in case, etc. Even if that is the case, though, if that's an element of his struggles in the past, I'd be a little bit worried about talking about it so openly on camera, because it is such a mental issue. The more and more you talk about it or acknowledge it, for me, the more and more that can then grow into an issue once again. If you do feel that way, fine. No, I just felt like in the moment I needed a second to reassess is what you need to say. At that point, he effectively needs to lie to the press. I basically just say, no, I just needed a moment to reset, to readjust. It was a key moment. I felt like taking my time would give me a better chance of hitting it. The minute he starts acknowledging that, other players now know that. Other people around him now know that. Other people in conversation are now going to be talking about Xian when he goes to the World Championships in a couple of weeks, going, right, is that pressure going to get too much for him? That's going to be a conversation in the punditry. It'll be pre-match questions if he does any press anywhere else. And it'll be conversation in the practice room. It's inevitable, and that can then spiral and get worse and worse and worse. So whilst it is incredibly commendable to come out and give an interview as fluent and as fabulous as that was for somebody who's just been beaten in arguably the biggest game of his career to date, I'd just be a bit wary about how much you're letting on to people in that situation.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. And it's a good one that Niall brings up there. He says diet seems to be coming up more and more of a problem for youngsters. Why do we think that is?
Because they're exposed to so much. There's two elements. They're exposed to a greater deal of competition at an earlier age with things like the JDC and Youth County. So there is a platform there for them to grow and learn and experience pressure situations. But it's the pressure that then comes down from above, or the pressure that being exposed to situations like Gian has been, where he's been number one and won the Dev Tour, earned a tour card, played in the pro ranks, played on TV, and that just keeps growing. When you're still an incredibly young person, let's not forget he is still incredibly young as a person, trying to just avoid some of that pressure being heaped onto your shoulders, even if it's not so much from parents, which I think some of it is. You look back at people like Billy Holmes, who probably had one of the most famous dartitis attacks on camera you can ever remember at a youth event, on a PDC event, on a streaming event, and Barry Van Peer. I've seen the relationship with Billy's parents. That pressure was on Billy's shoulders to go and be a world champion from the age of 10 years old. That ruined him. Absolutely ruined him. And I'm just wary that as good as it is and as many opportunities there are for youngsters, this goes back to something we've been banging on about all year, to be fair, there are an awful lot of 12, 13-year-olds currently signed to manufacturer deals that aren't going to make it as professional dart players.
Correct.
And I'm not convinced some of them have the aftercare programs in place to make sure that that doesn't become an issue for those people.
And that's
a bit like football academies, they'll have to provide an education alongside. I'm not convinced that darts is anywhere near as accelerated as that, because the coaching structure isn't in place as much. Don't get me wrong, you've got people that are volunteering at academies as such, but there's only so much advice they can give as a 1 to 30 person ratio, or whatever the rest of that may be. The effects of coaching at the adult game are still frowned upon and put aside. There's a handful of coaches in the pro game, and most pro players won't touch a coach. So kids are looking at going, well, I don't need one because I'm fine as well. Like it's just, I'm worried that people and the outcomes of the sport are developing at a far greater rate than the structure in place to make sure that people can do this and make a career in a safe manner.
Spot on, Mr. Dartwood.
Yeah, look, the career in a safe manner goes back to a long underlying issue as well, where I know it's not meant to be talked about, but some of those dev tours are absolute carnage with kids getting smashed. Let's have it right. And like you say, that care and the after there isn't there within the whole structure.
And the combination of alcohol and believing that that's the way to succeed, and then perhaps not having, like, the more the people like Luke Humphries revels in success, the more and more youngsters are going to look and go, right, that's the way to do it. You don't have people with the body type of Phill Taylor and Adrian Lewis dominating the sport anymore, where 20, 30 years ago, that typical body type was predominant in the sport, wasn't it? Like, darts had that negative image, or it's just a pub game, because of the typical shape of a dart player. Like, that is changing, and hopefully the more that does change and the more that interviews are broadcast coherently without slurring, people will realise that's not the effect of alcohol that some have, and go at it from a healthy, positive lifestyle and learn to deal with pressure differently. And that's what it all boils down to. Dartitis, management, structure, etc. It all comes down to how you deal with pressure.
Yeah, agreed.
And if some of the best talents of all time can't deal with pressure, I worry about how a 14-year-old is going to do that, because he now has to come up with a nickname and go and play under sponsors' names and go to tournaments to compete with other 14-year-olds whose parents are there going, you should beat this kid, I've seen him play, he's rubbish, or whatever else.
Yeah, no, agreed. Right, do you want to do Lakeside first or reaction to the PDC draw?
Your pick, Boise.
Reactions to the draw.
So the draw happened yesterday. First of all, thoughts on how it looked. I thought that Paddy put a massive amount of effort, work into how everything looked yesterday, and on site it looked incredible. Did that come across on TV?
I think so. The podiums looked decent. The conversations were solid. Obviously, we had some of it. We were streaming the draw. There was definitely a moment where you could tell that draw was 100% live.
Which is good.
Yeah, a lot of that you could certainly tell. But yeah, from a viewing perspective, I thought it came across very, very good. Probably highlights the fact that more draws should be live. But generally, that one was very good, and I guess it's an expectation that Paddy Power have brought with how they've delivered and how they communicate on socials. They are known as one of the strongest social media companies, not just betting, just generally in how
they've got one of the best marketing teams.
How they come across promoting, all of that is always done to a very, very high quality. They have now set a standard with the first day, the news of the boards dropping, the draw, all that. They've set a precedent for the rest of the World Championships, and it started with a draw, which was very, very successful. Having Phill there, having Dennis there to do the draw. Obviously, you was there. The important Phill in dart, I meant to say. Dennis, and then, like I says, Emma always fronting it with Wayne's insight, which was very, very good. It was just generally it came across very, very well.
So the news yesterday morning that everyone's been talking about, we have one of them.
Mine's behind me.
That's what I wanted your address for.
I informed, by the way, just a side story before we go on to it. I had a bit of a telling off yesterday. Recently brought a new house. Said there won't be a dartboard up in his house. I'm at work. Mix it at home. Why is there a dartboard here? Which I know absolutely nothing about.
The green treble 20. What's your initial thoughts, boys?
Quite like it. There's serious conversations going on right now between me and my dart team as to whether or not we use this for our match tomorrow.
I'm keeping mine intact.
Yeah, that's the other issue, is that it's going to go on display and it's going to be there, and as long as it doesn't get damaged, it's probably going back in the box to be sold in a few years' time. But there is also, we don't like the team we're playing tomorrow, so we might rock up with a green treble and go, well, they're using it at the World, so fuck off, we're playing with it.
I'm a fan. It's a great piece of marketing, let's be honest. It's an absolute great piece. When we got I think I saw the media release before I known that there's one on my doorstep, which was great. But it was a great piece of marketing. But yeah, back to that point, it's just what they do. They've got that precedent for a company that we've had that sponsored that many tournaments, who, let's be honest, the Dre stage and all that we've spoke about, that hasn't really lightened up the PDC more than what it needs. They have done from that to the best for the World Championships, and they've started off very well, haven't they?
I had a throw on one yesterday, and I don't like it. The colour.
Was you anywhere near it?
What's that?
So you don't agree with the science?
The colour.
You just realise you're not very good.
I think you'll find I banged in a 140 on it, but.
See, so even if you didn't like it, you scored better than you ever have done before, because the green's better for your visual spectrum.
It's the adjustment. So we were deliberately trying to go from treble to tops and things like that, and it's that colour adjustment that doesn't work for me.
Take your word for it.
I'm laughing at some of the comments. It's quite fun. It's the amount of people who didn't believe it. Old man's up. I was one. To physically see it, and now Dob, you're obviously emphasised it. I've just not took mine at the box. To see in front of everyone, it's there.
Yeah, look, it's real, Jay. I've got one. Look, that's green. It's not coloured in. I've not got a felt tip on it.
On South, and that mine is just in the box behind me. It's better than your prime bottles anyway.
I might try and bracket it on the shelf and just have it hung up for the week or for the next couple of weeks. The screw in the back won't devalue it. But
I'll tell you, the comments are brilliant.
you don't know.
Right, so the
What's
actual...
time for Harry Potter? You may not like it, but you have to admit, Paddy Power got style. They're changing the game.
All right, Frank Warren.
Yeah.
Did
Did you see my interaction on Twitter yesterday?
What did you...
It was like, yeah, just because it exists doesn't mean they're real sort of thing. And I sent it back to Harry Potter. Is this all in my head? Of course it's in your head, but why doesn't that make it real?
So the world's draw itself. Look, we're not going to go in depth in it, but first of all, your initial thoughts on the draw. Mine was that the seeds will be relatively happy.
I think there's 3 ties where players look at it and go, I'm in trouble regardless. Not in trouble, but I'm in for a tough one, irrelevant of who comes through that. There's a couple more where you're looking at it going, the form player comes through that, it could go that way. There's obviously some big names that have missed out. I do feel a little... Part of me thinks the field might be too big still.
See, that the first time yesterday, that's crossed my mind, Dob, because looking at certain sections, and when I say sections, I'm not just on 1 to 4, but little pockets of the draw, is probably the best term to use. And I look at that and I just think, I can see you on a Tuesday afternoon, I can see you on a Thursday afternoon, I can sort of slot in when you're down to be, just because of the sort of the level of that game. There's a few first round draws that I looked at and I think they're very, very enticing. There's a few potential second round draws that offer that, but then there is probably more of the I'm unsure what to expect. And yes, everyone who's there can perform a very, very good standard, but because of the amount of debutants, their biddies, payday, all that sort of thing that's going to come with it, I am very conscious that some of these, what will be afternoon session games, do worry me slightly because of the size of the field. But there is some very, very tasty draws still within there.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. There's some stinkers, but like we say, overall, the seeds will be relatively happy. There is, everyone's saying in the chat room now, there's one potential nightmare if Mickey Mansell beats Zong.
Yeah.
that one won't be quick. But also there's like the winner of Keegan Brown and Boris Kirchmar, they will fancy having a go at Dirk.
100%. With that shoulder at the minute, performance of the weekend wasn't great. Yeah, I'd be fancying that one. I think if you're Steve Lennon and Owen Bates, given the form of Johnny Clayton the last year, you'd fancy a crack at him a lot more than you would have in March, April time.
I get that, but I don't think he was the seed to attack. There's still a few more barring Johnny. Dirty's 100%. I look at it tells me to say it a little, but Jose is certainly wanted to do an attack. Dirt's the standout of those, and then there's others that still certain question marks on. More form, the likes of what can Clemens now replicate from what he set as an expectation last year. Not as much form this year, but it's actually how Germany reacted last year to what he did.
Yeah,
that pressure is there from round 2 for him, not from quarterfinals as it was probably last year.
I feel like Rasmus not had the best of years. He'd have been one you'd have fancied a crack at, perhaps. Like Dimitri was a little bit better at the Players' Championships this weekend in terms of results, in terms of performance. I'm not quite sure that step up was there. Not that you'd fancy a crack at Dimi on a TV stage, but look, he's more beatable than he has been for the last 3 or 4 years heading into Alexandra Palace, I think. His form has been decent of late, but Callum Ridge will not have liked seeing Ricardo Petrescu as his potential opponent at all.
I don't know. I think Petrescu is going to get it at Ali Pali.
I think he'll get it first round. It just depends how he reacts. He's going to get it because he's playing Makuru. After that, you think there's an awful lot of German fans that go to Ali Pali every year. COVID is a long gone thing now. A lot of people will be making that pilgrimage across once again. It would not surprise me if a large percentage of that crowd this year is once again German.
Yeah,
I don't think if you're Callan, you can rely on the crowd being British and on your side.
No, it'll be interesting. And first of all, how are we doing, Matt? Hope you are good. And are you asking me to step in?
No. And
I will slap you both.
Matt,
I'm back in Portsmouth next week. I will slap you.
By the way, me and Matt are having Christmas jumper day in Portsmouth next week.
Matt and I, and that's against the uniform because we've all got lovely new T-shirts, so I will report you.
It's not, because if you also read the directive, it says at the discretion of the producer, and guess who's producing?
Exec producer. I will be reporting
you. Back to the draw, you pair of children. I actually think that Petrescu draw has probably worked in his favour because he was going to do it anyway. So being up against Suzuki doesn't change that.
Yeah.
And then in performance, Suzuki isn't at the level that we've seen in previous years. That for me, I think that draw is sort of, I don't want to say favourable, but it could have been a lot worse, especially in that opening round. Another seed who stands out to me, who I have concerns about, and this isn't because he's got whoever before his opponents were announced, but huge question marks around Andrew Dildin, especially his performance then this weekend. And now he's got Luke Littler in that section. I'm not sure he will go far.
I agree.
I can't remember where I saw it, but I believe Christian Kist currently has some sort of hand injury.
Christian Kist was horrific. It wouldn't surprise me.
Injured, very injured.
It wouldn't surprise me if the bookies do not offer odds on that game because he was that bad.
Very injured.
But
I think the players that will be wary of their opponents. I mean, James Wade will not like seeing Matt Campbell and Lawrence Alagan. I don't think. We know what Campbell's capable of, whether or not he's executed that on the tour. Alagan still one of the best actions in the world if he gets his arse out of the way of the camera. I said Johnny Clayton, didn't I? That's a stinker. We need to talk about the number 18 seed.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
It is very horrible. And a user on Twitter, Colin of FEB's data, we use some of his stats sometimes anyway. Go over and follow me, does some magnificent work. Mardo interacting with him at the moment. Has done some analysis on the 32 seedings in the PDC World Championships. The worst seed of the lot is number 18. The best it's ever done is the last 16. Every other seed has made at least a quarterfinal or onwards. Like that seeded number is cursed. And Stephen Bunton, one of the most informed players in the world right now, takes on a TV semi-finalist from the weekend or the American number one who's playing some ridiculous darts right now.
I agree. That's, for me, the Joyce Spellman game is one of the standouts of the first round.
Yeah.
Because they're not like, neither are quick, neither are slow, but neither are going to be put off by the other person playing at that pace because they're so incredibly similar.
Yeah.
They're just going to allow each other to play darts.
Also, God, before we carry on, I've got some breaking news from Paddy Power HQ. Tell Gob to use the board at his game tomorrow. I'll get him another one.
Yes! What a boy. Thank you, Jack. You heard that. Clip that. I've got to keep one, ain't you? Like, there's got to be a keeper's item.
Yeah. So, yeah, go and piss the other team off.
Yes! Oh, yes.
Look at him. He's never been so happy.
I'll put it on socials everywhere.
I wish you could have did him that information at 8 o'clock. He might have been a bit happy at the start.
He has been
he's got 45 minutes of him being happy.
Thoughts on Fallon's draw?
Up until the start of the Players' Championship finals, I probably would have said it's a very good draw. Jermaine's record on TV for the last couple of years has been incredibly poor. His only wins seem to have come in Minehead. Form-wise, it just hasn't been there for 8 months of the year. However, at the important time of the year, Jermaine Mortimer looks like a dart player once again.
I still don't think it's
I get that, but if you look at certain players who are going to be affected by what happens in the arena and some who ain't, I believe Watamina will be affected by the support for Fallon. I think that's a very good draw.
Well, you look at it. I appreciate he got to the third round of the Players' Championships, and there was one very good performance against Vintra, and it was very good. But he only averaged 91 to beat Dirk, who averaged 80, and then he's lost with an 89 against Ryan Joyce. If he produces that, Fallon's in the game. I'm not saying she wins, but she's in the game if he produces that level.
If I do think this is driven, I honestly looking when I saw the draw and I was trying to look at round one with Eve without looking at the seed and who they play afterwards. When I looked at Fallon's draw, my first thought was if Fallon turns up, Fallon wins. This isn't on Watamina, this is on Fallon. Because I think when Fallon turns up and the crowd are behind her, that will have an impact on Watamina where it wouldn't on some of the other players, and I think that will be important. If after 2 sets we are one apiece, I can't see any other outcome than Fallon going on. I think it's a very good draw for Fallon, even with the decent form we saw from Watamina this weekend. When you then look past that into round 2, I think if she does get through, it then becomes a lot more difficult. Because I don't think we'll see that.
Schindler's got pedigree.
I don't think we'll see Impact Schindler. And second to that, the factor of, because of previous years, people have this perception that it's the English fans and the Scotland that battered everywhere. We don't them sort of things that happen. We'll see less of that this year because of the other nations being over and watching. So I don't think we'd see that at Ensmart and Schindler as much. So that's more of a worry. But I think she should be confident coming through that. What I mean at all.
I'm just looking at her averages from the slam. She had 92.5 against MBG, 86 against Clearmacher, and 88 against Cross. If she produces that or a little bit better, she's in it.
I personally think if she averages the average of those, which was what, 88, 89?
Yeah.
She wins it. I think it's a favourable draw.
Yeah. Any other standouts before we move on? Like we say, we are going to go in depth on the World Championship, our live show. This was just a quick reaction. I like Wessel Nyman against Steve Beaton.
Yeah, it depends. There's some of the ties you look at, and I just think it's what form that players come in. Barry Van Peer, obviously a very good year, but disappointed at the Slam. If he finds a way to perform a standard that he's found, we know Luke Woodhouse and his A game is very good. That could be a good first round tie in that bottom section. Van der Bodard had a good weekend. What can Thibaut Trotol do on his first outing at the PDC Worlds? And there's, I think, one thing that we probably haven't mentioned now, we're at a draw point. The amount of pressure that is on the players who have picked PDC over WDF, that pressure comes into effect on round one. Because in theory, anyone who's at the PDC, you would expect to have had a good run at the WDF. So their expectations were to get past round one. And that will be the same with Thibaut, who was runner-up last year.
Yeah. Before we move on, obviously, last night after the draw, which was the draw was at Oki in London, and genuinely an incredible place, decked out in Paddy Power World Championship branding and everything like that. Just looked incredible. The Talk Sport broadcasted live there, just so good. But from there, we then went to the Leicester Square Theatre for Night of the Champions, and the first time in living history that all 11 PDC champions were under one roof, gents. It's a little bit special, isn't it?
Yeah, look pretty good, that. And it's nice that they're doing it. Like, I know it's 30 years on and from the very first, and there is that centenary, but actually this tournament should and can be so special that actually more effort is needed. And they were wrong, the PDC are getting better with their socials and marketing and that sort of thing, but I still think there's a lot more to be done as well. We're going to get the same classic games on Sky Sports throughout the next few weeks. I want to see finals. I want to see games that we haven't seen before. I want to see that updated. I want to see, let's go again. Right? As much as I absolutely love and adore Dave Clark, and I think everybody involved in darts does, he's been retired 5-6 years now. And yet he's still, there's nobody else fronting a darts gold anywhere.
It was recorded. There's going to be highlights on the PDC YouTube channel. But it was really, really good. And the surreal moment when you had Adrian, Phill, Gary and Michael on those 4 seats was like, that for me was the golden generation of world champions. And to see the 4 of them there was just like a real moment in time.
It'll be interesting to see what that looks like in 30 more years' time, won't it? Because I don't think we're going to see the same level of domination that we've seen in the early years. Obviously, Phill Taylor was a big part of that, but the fact that I think 459 players have played in World Championships now, that seems to be the number being bandied around, and only 11 of them have ever won a World Championship. It seems truly staggering when you think of the talent and the players that have been there or come close or been to finals or semi-finals or not even got anywhere near, really. You look at the likes of Terry Jenkins and Mervyn King, that was not won a lot, to be honest. And yeah, just to see those 11, they must, like, for some of them that'll feel truly special. Some of them will be, why am I here? Because that's the way they're inclined. Like, I don't think until they're truly done will they appreciate their impact on the sport, especially those that are still playing. A.D. Lewis will be on the fringe given his situation at the moment, but those that are retired will sit there, reminisce and go, actually, yeah, this is pretty special to see the fact that you've only added 4 more names since I've been gone or whatever else, and vice versa.
Yeah, Matt said it was Phill. Yeah, look, it was a great night, Matt, wasn't it? And look, the banter between Michael and Gary was brilliant. Those two in that environment together were superb. They were just bouncing off each other. But also, when they then brought like the modern ones on, you had Rob, Gezi, Peter, Spiffy. That Gezi's personality shone for the first time, and that's the first time a lot of people would have seen that Gezi. That's the Gezi that we know because we see it all the time. But his personality and his sense of humour shone out last night. Some of it wasn't broadcastable without a few beeps, but it was funny and in the moment. Does that make sense?
It is, but part of that is due to what he wants to portray of himself. Because there is that performance doing, and there is that person doing. There is also the media one and the one off camera. Last night brings that relaxed sort of mode because it's very rare people get to see a player when they've or hear from a player when they have not just played. And even if it's on the back of a result, some of them are still not happy with an aspect of that, or it's that on such a big high or such a low that it's the relaxed attitude that you'd have seen from last night is probably where they'll come more out of the shell. A bit like what Desi was like to this on Saturday. He was a bit more relaxed.
Yeah.
We saw that from him. We then haven't seen that again. You saw it last night, but it's not something we're going to see a lot of because that's not how I think he wants to portray himself when he's playing the sport, and that's what he's there for. He's made it clear that he doesn't want to be here long term, but he wants to be a winner while he's here. And he's got one mindset of doing that, and that's with the attitude that he portrays on stage.
I think that's a bit of a shame, though, because you go back to like the 70s and the 80s, and darts players were real rock stars and snooker players of their time as well. Like, we've got a generation here who get it, who are normal people as much as anything, who have the ability to go out to the wider population and do things like Soccer AM or Question the Sport or just things like that off the top of my mind, a league of their own, etc., and change the perception a little bit and actually get other people involved and go, look, darts isn't played by 40-year-old fat blokes anymore that drink 14 pints. Like, we have the characters in the game to go out and do that in chat show situations, etc. But it seems to be they're booked for the first couple of days, maybe on the news pages, and then they don't really seek any of those out because the tour is so intense.
But is also part of that dependent on who your champion is or the lot of that champion?
I think so, but even if you look back at the last, 7 years? Rob Cross, Michael Van Gerwen, Michael Smith, Peter Wright, Gary Anderson, Phill Taylor. Not quite Phill, but he was in that final. Like, all of them have got personalities to go out and be someone.
They have. It's time. Time is the important one to how relentless the. If you think now, I know we'd sort of flippantly make the comment about the Bahrain Masters, but the world champion's there. 12, 13 days after lifting the title, whatever it is. That's that window in January, which I think was the window that Price was on Saturday AM. If memory serves me right, it was a week or two after he'd won the Worlds. It's those sort of windows where we're not going to see anymore because of the diary getting fuller and fuller. And it's a shame because, like you said yesterday, Phill, Derwin really came out of his shell on that stage, and people seen a side of him that we wouldn't see. We would like to see that from more of the players. Are we going to see? He's very unlikely to as a talender.
Yeah, they were talking about the Gezi ear defenders as well, and Michael told the story about how he wound him up in the practice room. Michael was like, "You ain't got the balls to wear them on stage," like knowing exactly what he was doing. And Gezi was like, "You ain't got the balls to take him up there." And then Gezi he took him up there and put him on. But no, that was good. So yeah, when it comes out on the PDC YouTube channel, well worth a watch. Right, the Lakeside kicks off this weekend, gentlemen. Neil Duff starts the defence, well, not on opening night, but Neil Duff and Bo Greaves will start the defence of their titles. Just trying to, is it on Wikipedia yet?
Yes.
Good. Hey, there it is. Lot of names through them. So I suppose first of all, the WDF breathed a sigh of release when Białecki lost in the final on Saturday.
Yes and no. Like I said, like losing Thibaut Tricol to be replaced by John Scott feels a little bit, without being disrespectful, downgrade. Thibaut was finalist last year, carries a nation's hopes behind him in terms of France. John Scott is a couple of WDF title event winner from the UK who probably won't do anywhere near as much for TV or ticket sales as Thibaut would have. For Białecki, as fabulous a young talent as he is, and he's hit 2 televised 9 darters now, not that I'm counting as the referee of one of them, the possibility of potentially having Paul Lim in there, who is an international superstar in his own right, probably would have done a lot more for their tournament. And once you've lost one, losing 2, you might as well. Having it just as a one-off isolated incident in terms of Thibaut and John Scott just sort of makes a mockery of it. But if it's going to keep happening, they've done the right thing.
So that Marsh Białecki game will kick off the proceedings. I remember that one. They haven't got the other ones up here. But first of all, boys, standout ties that you like, or standout ties from round 1 and potentials in round 2 of the men's to start with.
Standout one is, for me, the opener. Marsh, Białecki on to open round 1 is the best. From seeing that on Saturday, I'm glad that he didn't qualify last Saturday because I don't think it would have been the same spectacle. I'm not going to lie, that's the same routine to round 2. having the best round 1 tie then takes on seed number 1 sort of just alludes to that being the best possible outcome. Now Leonard Dates has got an easier tie. That would have been an interesting game, but obviously it's not Thibaut anymore. It's now John Stott. I'm interested to see what Jamie Lewis will see.
I'm concerned for a few players that are in this draw, as in the fact they qualified over 14 months ago, and trying to do some digging on a couple of them. By the look of it, they've played nothing, some of them, apart from a couple of online games and things like that. I can't find any information on certain players that qualified a long time ago. And almost like we use the comparison to the World Youth, but they have to wait so long for their opportunity. Some of these may have missed that opportunity because of the time.
Yeah.
Well, our guest of the show qualified September 2022. That's sort of where we are in regards to qualifications. He qualified for the tournament that was due in whatever date it was meant to be, then moved. So that may see a drop of level 1 performances across the tournament. So I'm totally with you. Like I say, I'm looking forward to seeing Jamie Lewis. I have no idea what Jamie Lewis we're going to see. But it's good to see him back on the stage in regards to semi-finalists just in the PDC just 4 or 5 years ago.
He's one I worry about.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
I'm glad to see him back.
Yeah. Davies just mentioned 2 ties as his tie the first round, and from what I understand, they're both going to be incredibly one-sided. Lewis versus Bottenberg and Youngans versus Pallet.
I agree. Didn't want to say too much, obviously, because Reese was on earlier, but I'm not expecting much from Prinz either. The fact he hasn't played.
He had that shoulder injury as well that meant he stopped playing seniors for a bit. He's playing. I wouldn't be surprised to see Prinzy play on 19s.
Yeah.
I think Reese is fully aware. It's very much the player's perspective is I don't know what the other player's doing. I'm just going to play the board, isn't it? But you're playing at the World Championship. They've definitely been looking at the draw and the form, and you're more worried if you're Dave than if you're Reese, 100%, because of obviously people who've been on Super Series, people who we've seen on ADC, people who are still down to WDF events and we've seen performing the likes of the Yellow Class and those sort of people, that they have to be the ones that are are being told out to go deep in this tournament, including the likes of the guys who are doing the seniors. You said Darren Johnsons, Martin Turners, those who we've seen play an awful lot of competitive darts. They have to be the ones who are in the strongest position down into this week.
I agree. I'm looking forward to Shawnee Mack against Johnny Tata as well. I think that's a very good game. I thought Tata played well in the World Series this year, and Sean's always solid.
Yeah, that's right. I think it's a good first round tie, and equally a fairly favourable second round. I think whoever comes through that will fancy taking on Tolkien in the second round.
Yeah, I agree.
So they will see that as an opportunity of not just getting over the line, but actually progressing further into that week.
Looking at the draw, chat room as well. Semi-finalists. Who are you thinking?
Who are we thinking?
It's a good question. I've got my bottom half.
No, I've got my top half. My bottom half's tough.
I've got my top half, one of my bottom half, but the other one I'm 50-50 on.
Right, what are you saying?
What are you saying? What are you saying?
What are you saying?
What you? What are you saying? What are you saying? What are you saying? First quarter, Andy Barton's.
Correct.
Incorrect.
Sebastian knew that.
No. I've gone rogue. Gary Stone.
Really?
Second quarter?
James Hurrell.
Yeah, I've got the hillbilly. Don't get me wrong, this is the toughest quarter, in my opinion. Brashear, Merckx, Conterman, Colley all floating. Richardson played solid last week, was very unlucky to miss out on finals night. Dennis Nielsen will cause him an issue if he gets past Jordan Brooks, but I still think Hurrell is just the standout in that section.
I've just gone Hurrell.
I haven't. Wesley. Please, yeah.
Quarter 3.
A few weeks ago, I had Chris Landman, but I've not been that impressed the last couple of outings in the PDC.
I've got an asterisk here. I've got Neil Duff if he gets past Moreno Blom.
No. We don't do ifs here. You're either picking Duff or you're not picking Duff.
I think Duff gets by him, but I think Blom causes him problems.
So you're picking Duff anyway then, so there's no asterisk.
Yeah, I'm going
Duff. just to clarify.
Yeah, Duff from quarter 3, but Moreno causes him issues.
Yeah, his arrogance is frustrating, isn't it? But I think Neil Duff comes through that section.
I'm going to go back to Chris Landman.
Chris Landman.
Yeah. Sorry, Neil. Serves you right for your comment about me and a certain someone at the Motor Supers.
Section 4. Easy for me. Len.
Yeah, he looked very good this week, didn't he?
Yeah.
This is the one I was unsure on. It's just the fact that potential of Yella, DJ, and Danny Lobey, Leonard Dates, that sort of combination we could have. On the no Yella. Not going to sit on the fence. Don't know Yella.
Just worry about his consistency. When he gets it right, it's still very good. So that's why I swerved. So,
if I was swerving, I was doing Danny Lobey, to be honest.
Yeah.
See, part of me is looking at DJ. I don't think he scored or played that well at all last week, but his clutch finishing at times was ridiculous. I also think that if you think the spotting and producing and directing was bad on ITV this weekend, you wait till you see Jarno Bottenberg try and play against Danny Lowby.
I feel sorry. I know who's spotting. I'm not gonna put the name out there, but I feel for the man that is spotting at Lakeside.
Baptism of fire.
What I'm saying is full board is going to be an option here.
Just do the entire game on there. It's just safer. Because the thing is, they can both count. You think how quickly Lowby reacted to hitting the treble 17 earlier on that 110 checkout when he should have hit the single to leave 36. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, there's a name also that's gone very much under the radar here. And I've got to admit, I'd forgotten he was even in here. But when he played at the Super Series, this is May time, I think. So it's a while ago.
Thomas Youngans.
What's that?
Thomas Youngans.
No. Davy Kerwin. Once he settled at the Super Series, he played some decent stuff. If he settles, he could do okay. I don't think he wins it or anything like that, but I think he's one to keep an eye on.
Nah, not for me.
So, from your semi-final lineup, I would like your winner and your runner-up.
Can't remember what I've got now. That's a good start.
I know mine. Leonard Gates beats James Hurrell in the final. For me, that's where I'm going.
Bartons beats Landman.
That's my decision made then. Duff beats Bartons. Oh, I very much had it the other way around until you said Bartons wins, and I'm not over
The women's event.
We're just naming the other finalist.
The only person that can beat Bo is Bo.
Yeah.
No, tell a lie. That's been, I think, from what I've seen, I think this comes too soon for Lisa. After watching her in the ADC Women's Tour final, great to see her back, but I think this comes a little bit too soon. For me, the only one that could stop Bo is Rianne.
The only players who can stop Bo, I don't think can stop Bo when they meet her at the London format. And then the only player who stops Bo winning is Bo. If some of those meet up, Rianne, Eileen, Lisa maybe, early on, up and quarterfinals or before then maybe. But when that's extended, I just think a power story is just too much. She'll create way too many opportunities for herself. And let's be honest, the finishing isn't too bad either, but she'll just create the amount of double chances that will surpass the others. And I think she comes through with ease then. I can't see another outcome. I'd probably go as far to say I don't see her dropping a set.
You adding anything to this, Gob?
No. Ha! Maybe. That's just a meme, that's percent. Very intrigued to see how Almudena Fallado settles. I think she has a fantastic A game, and at that early stage of best of 3 sets still, where she would run into Bo if they both stayed on that projection. That's a tough little tie there. Let's not rule her out at all. Back in Rianne O'Sullivan to come through that second quarter. Dita looked very good in mode in Portsmouth last week, but I still don't feel like that top game was what she needs to get past Rianne. Lisa struggled a little bit as that game went on or started to regress. The next one is possibly the more open one because I think Aileen and Lorraine are both more than capable of having a crack at each other. And then that bottom half is all about how fit Lisa Ashton is and how much time she's been able to put on the board since the ADC Women's Finals last weekend. If she's got enough practice in and can get herself up there, then she's got more than a chance of at least a semi-final. At which point her name in that venue might carry her an awful lot. Let's not forget that. But yeah, look, it's the value here is without Bo in the field, isn't it?
Yeah, completely. Yeah, she's like, what's she 1 to 5?
There or thereabouts.
Yeah. So does Paula Jacqueline win a leg?
The favourite bet of all time.
Yeah, no, look, it'll be interesting, but I think we're all on the same page here that Bo wins this comfortably.
Yeah.
Don't disagree there at all. Right, week in darts. What have we missed?
Who won last week? Chaz Barstow
Yes.
beating Sir Lenny.
Beat Len.
Not of Henry, of Gates. Good final.
Yeah.
Good finals night. Couple of surprises in there. Jake McMillan was outstanding all week. Gets caught cold in his very first game of night and as good as done. That's how brutal that finals night is. Other than that, I thought it was a really interesting week. Jim McEwen struggled. He never settled at all. I think he lost his sleeping pattern night 2 after a very long journey on the way down there as well, and just never got going as the defending champ. James Richardson played pretty well, you know.
A lot better than he did the first time.
Yeah. I mean, just not skipped over his chances for Lakeside, but he is in that draw. Keep an eye out on him. Tough little path, though. Christian Godel, then Peter Machin, then Placia, Coley or Prince.
Yeah, no, it was good to see Chaz playing well again because he's not quite lived up to what the bar he'd set, had he, recently?
No, especially not in Portsmouth. In Southampton, that was him and Jim are both far better exponents of players in Southampton. They had far more success there until very recently. They're probably the only two players that said they preferred the Southampton venue.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah, he looked very solid in front of a tough crowd. We nearly had a second 9 of the week. We did have one, though, for Mr. Gates. Expertly called in by the referee, even if I do say so myself.
He threatened it a few times, didn't he, that week?
I thought Chaz was going to do it, like literally a game before as well. He went 5 perfect. But yeah, excellent from Leonard. Great content in that regard as well. The other thing to talk about this week, by the way, with 10 minutes to go, is that now that the World Championship qualifier has been and gone, a number of players have lost their tour cards.
Correct.
They are done. So that's anybody on darts rankings who's not currently light green because they're in year 1, or with a box around them with the potential to go and earn money at the World Championship. So Nathan Rafferty, Danny Janssen has lost his tour card. Darius Lavanauskas, Scott Waits, Richie Burnett, John O'Shea, Ted Evitts, the former World Youth Champion. Jeff Smith has lost his tour card on social media earlier, announced that after 4 years on tour, he will not be going back to Q School. The CDC model is enough to sustain him as a dart player with opportunities for that and the WDF, which I actually back that decision an awful lot, given where darts is at the moment. He's got a successful business in Canada. It's a lot less travelling. He can go back and settle at home and come back in and catch people cold again, I guess, against his performances. Louis Williams has lost his tour card.
The man who spends more time in airports than anyone else, it seems to me.
He deserves some time at home, doesn't he?
Right decision, yeah. Absolute right decision.
Louis Williams has lost his tour card after quite a big impact when he first got it. George Killington is gone. Brian Roman, Jimi Hendrix, Bradley Brooks, Jose Justicia, Joe Mernon, James Wilson, Ross Montgomery. The oldest tour card holder is gone, so that record might change right now. Tony Martinez, Sean Wilkinson, Devon Peterson. Look how far down that list I've had to go. He loses his tour card with just 21.5 grand on his rankings. Damian Mole, Luke Peters, Kevin Burness, Jamie Clark, Nick Fulwell, Vladimir Anderson. And that's it. The only tour card holder this year to not earn any money? Corey Cadby. Everybody else, including Challenge Tour players that have then played Pro Tours, have earned at least 750 quid.
Lovely.
A few players at risk. So they are white with a box round. Steve Lennon is the man on the cusp. Florian Hempel, Radek Sagansky, Connor Scott. Jules Van Dongen, still a lot of work to do for him. Rusty Jake Rodriguez, Christoph Kachuk, Darren Webster. Could you imagine? Where's he got to get to? Quarterfinal to keep his tour card? The last player that did that, Nathan Aspinall?
Yeah, it's not happening.
And that's about it now in terms of that. Everyone else is either doesn't have one already or is on first year of 2-year tour card.
Yeah, obviously. Clearmacher in 62. Does that mean but he's giving it back?
It does, yes.
So does that mean 65 will go green? Or will that be...
I can't remember what they did with Phil's. Can you?
Not off the top of my head, no. Or Raymond's.
Yeah, they're the two that...
Off the top of my head, I can go back and find that, but off the top of my head now, I can't remember.
I can't think of anybody else that's retired inside the 64.
Yeah.
Not in the very near future, in the near past. I've been sent a message that says extra place at Q School.
I thought that was the case. They've not given it up mid-year, have they? They've gave it up end of year, and I think that would be...
Well, I suppose it depends, because effectively the year doesn't end until after the Worlds. So the fact that Clearmacher's not in it, this may come back to the time that if it tells the PDC. Because if he was to hand it in now, effectively it's still the season.
Doesn't it just effectively come down to the deadline to pay their PDPA full affiliation membership?
Pass.
And if they've not done that, they lose their card.
There you go, straight from the horse's mouth. Someone asked, is the Joker going back? And Laura is in. Of course he is. We didn't expect anything else.
Go on, John boy.
Also, there's the Corey Cadby tour card.
Is it bad that when Laura said that John's going back, my first thought was typing in Doodle, seeing how old John was to see how close he's to the seniors? John, don't tell me.
Yeah, I believe Richie Burnett is going to Q School, Charlie. Yes.
He's one that I don't understand why you would.
Because he still believes he can compete at that level. Whether that's right or not is irrelevant.
For the last 2 years, we've seen that he can't. Yet when he played in the Super Series, he was competitive, and with a name and a standing in the game like Richie does, there's absolutely no way he's not in a conversation to play in a seniors event.
I agree with you, but yes, the news.
Some great point. Yeah.
Look, we'd known about this for a while, but Russ Bray will be walking away from ranking darts in the PDC, shall we say. He's still going to be an ambassador. I did a really good sit down with him in Minehead, to be fair, which will be going out as part of our World Championship build-up. Right time?
Right time, right role, 100%. I think it is absolutely perfect as the PDC continue to look to expand in emerging nations. You need big names and faces to do that, and big characters. And Russ is someone who absolutely loves being on the road. You can listen to him at events going, I've slept in my own bed 42 times all year, and he loves it. Like, he loves that out and about. So as somebody who is as recognisable as some of the top 10 players in the world, with the voice, being able to go there and represent the PDC at things like the Asian Tour or on the World Series, I think it's the perfect combination. There are plenty of outstanding young referees coming through. Charlie Corstefine called the final over the weekend. You've got people like Owen Binks waiting in the rafters. He's done a great job on the Super Series and did some Minehead work previously. Those guys have earned their shot right now, and it's the perfect balance. Russ doesn't have to do every single event in the UK, but actually it's a great balance. The fact they've created a role to keep him involved tells you everything you need to know about Russ Bray. He's an outstanding bloke, an outstanding ambassador for the sport, always carries himself really, really well. And actually being able to go and travel and be an official more than a player just going off and going, oh, yeah, look what I'm doing. Like, I just guaranteed to be in all the big shots, isn't he? His voice is now going to be over all the big moments. He can go and inspire a future generation of referees elsewhere as well that you need so that the sport continues to grow at the same level before you get a massive disparity of going, oh, the people that can call in England are brilliant, but actually the Euro Tour is struggling a little bit when you go to the Super Series or the Super League, or whatever else. It's just brilliant.
Yeah, and look, first of all, on that, you touched on it there. How good was Charlie in that final? The way he called the 9-dart leg in relation to there was 180s flying in, and he was cool, calm, and composed throughout.
He's that
Second
good, isn't
best 9 of the week, wasn't it? Fair play to him.
Yeah.
he? The best. Yeah, I guess it's another one we've seen him in multiple organisations, and he's always delivered to such a ridiculous quality. So, and such a great lad as well. So, kudos to Charlie going on and performing at the PDC, and many, many more years of Charlie doing that.
Yeah. And look, you might even see a little swapsy there. Look, you never know.
Oh, I do.
I meant more for the seniors. Mr. Hinks might not fly solo. 2 senior referees. The players will love it. Anyway, the treble is green.
And Gob's happy because he's going to play on it tomorrow in his Super League game. How much is that going to fuck the other team off?
Hopefully a lot. To the point where we're currently checking the rules to make sure we can do it. The only rules in our league state the dimensions and the board must be in good condition. Fucking brand new, lads.
I am 99.999% sure there is not a darting board around what colour the treble 20 should be.
Correct. So now I've not broken any rules.
That's a first for you.
No, you always make sure you don't break any rules so that when they complain, you go, what have we done wrong?
Coming from
they're already sending a committee member to watch tomorrow.
Philip, coming from the man who doesn't like the dark arts, has just made that comment.
Yeah.
Just remember that.
No dark arts involved, lads. I'm just playing on a brand new board. Exposure for our friends at Paddy Power, who we are delighted to announce will be sponsoring online darts throughout the duration of the PDC World Darts Championship.
Correct.
As well as
OD is going green.
As well as sponsoring your match tomorrow.
They're literally a match sponsor tomorrow night. They're going on our graphic and everything. In fact, I'm going to make the graphic now. I'm going to make the graphic tonight. Get me on Canva.
Yes, but as you said, more importantly, they are part of the online darts team for the World Championship, which is the busiest. How many days? 19 days?
Yeah.
Busiest 19 days of darting action.
Into the Big Brother house we go. Ugh. Yeah.
But before all that, I don't know if we've mentioned it tonight. Live Lounge Live is just 13 days away. Is my math right there, Dob?
It is.
It's better than it was the other week.
Yeah. Yep, the Live Lounge Live coming to you from the Prince of Wales in Ilkeston. Remember, the event is over on our Facebook page. I'll share it across social media tomorrow. Get yourself along. Again, the tremendous guys at Paddy Power have sent a load of stuff up to do the pub up in as well. So the pub will be going green. Also, my house looks like an Amazon warehouse at the moment. When we were loading up the car the other day, Gob, it was funny, wasn't it?
Yes. Ooh, colour. Let's go green. Yes. What happened there? I'm actually making our graphic green right now. We've used red all season, but it's going green.
Do you want the World Championship logo?
No, just the Paddy one.
Yeah, the Paddy World Championship one.
Yeah, go on then.
Well, they are, Matthew, the 11th will be the last live lounge of the year. However, we will be back for Fallout Bars for the World Championship.
We will. To be fair, are we all looking forward to the Wilds now? Now the draw's been done, does it all feel real?
It doesn't, because there is the Lakeside starting at the weekend, and I don't know how I feel about that being in between now.
Yeah, it doesn't. the excitement was built up very good yesterday, but now there's normally the lull of you checking social media for players' performances in exhibitions leading up to the World because you don't see anything else for 3 weeks. But actually, for the darting fan, we've got a week of World Championship darts. So it is going to be strange. But I do think once that...
I still think some of these exhibitions will get more coverage on social, though.
Yeah, quite possibly, but that's...
From you, because you're going to them.
But I do think I will be more prepped and ready for the Worlds to start when we are all together on the 11th. When that schedule's out, when you can sort of plan the days and the evenings that you're excited about seeing, the games that you're pinpointing as to stand out sessions and all that sort of stuff, that for me is when it will really, really come to light.
Johnny, I know Scott Mitchell was doing the first weekend and the last weekend, and Johnny Bryant is doing it. The rest, I don't know.
Who?
Johnny Bryant? It is Bryant, isn't it?
Dan McCarthy.
No, it's not Dan.
Dan McCarthy's doing Lakes. I was literally with him at the weekend just gone.
Well, that's changed. That's changed in the last week then.
Dan McCarthy's been booked for Lakeside for weeks.
Johnny Bryant was the one that was doing it.
It's Dan McCarthy. I was literally working with him last week.
Well, that means that Johnny Bryant and Dan McCarthy are doing a lot of it then. I know that because the other two they couldn't afford were told that Johnny Bryant was doing it.
It's Dan. Yeah. What about the Edgar interview? Yeah, Phill needs to sort that out. Definitely not me to go and find the quote to use from it at all.
You mean you forgot?
No, busy man me.
You mean you forgot?
Maybe. Don't worry about
that. So yeah, the Edgar interview. I asked Gob to do it because I was manic, and he was like, "Yeah, not a problem. I'll do it this afternoon." Right, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us on an impromptu Tuesday. But thank you very much. As always, we have been Online Darts. Remember, if you haven't yet, make sure you drop us a follow. All social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Threads. And, of course, here on YouTube, give us a thumbs up and subscribe. But the countdown to the Palace is well and truly on as Muswell Hill is going to go green. I've been Phill Bars, Jack Garwood and Lee Boyce, and we'll see you all very, very soon.
Bye.